We have a desk
Fancy.
It's cool.
to take notes. I'm ready to take notes. Is there a final exam?
This is a big climb. Whee! Okay.
So I know you guys wanted to actually introduce yourself, so why don't we go ahead and let's get started.
Yes, it's very bright, so I'm sorry if I don't look anybody in the eye. Hi, everybody. I'm Kristen McGuire. I play Ruri in Dr. Stone, Senko in the Helpful Fox Senko-san, Malim in the time I got reincarnated as a slime, Tatami in My Hero Academia. I'm a writer, a full-time writer for Funimation, sometimes director, and that's me. Woo!
You directed me on Gamers, my first lead.
I directed it on Gamers.
Yeah. My name is Brandon McInnis, and I'm a voice actor as well. I'm in Gamers.
Gamers, you guys should watch that show. It's
good.
Really
it's
good.
Really good. But I'm also Sir Night-Eye in My Hero Academia, and thank you. And Gen in Dr. Stone, Finral in Black Clover. I always want to say Black Butler. I'm like, that's a different show. I'm in that. I'm all the cats in season 3. It's so random, right? But yeah, and a few other things too. And yeah, that's me.
Cool. Hi, everybody. My name is Zach Aguilar. I play Tanjiro in Demon Slayer, Byleth in Fire Emblem, and now Super Smash Brothers, Genos in One Punch Man, Koichi in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Arthur in The Seven Deadly Sins, and yeah, a bunch of other stuff. So I'm stoked to be out here and to be on this panel talking about
Anime Voice Acting 101.
Yeah.
101.
Well, with that being said, I think now we can get things officially started. So have the three of you guys ever had the opportunity to be on a panel together before, or is this the first time?
I've been on panels with both of these people, but
Yeah.
not all at the same time.
Yeah. I was like, it's so bad, I couldn't even remember. I was like, I think this might be the first time. No, we did a panel together.
We did a panel at Anime. You and I did a panel at Anime North Texas.
Yeah.
And I've done lots of panels with Brandon.
So out of curiosity, do you guys have like any pre-recording rituals that you guys do to get into certain characters?
Heck yeah. I mean, I sing all sorts of stuff in my car. I'm singing away to Kelly Clarkson and Adam Lambert, and I'm going yeah, and I'm like doing all sorts of like weird stuff, and I don't
sing
know.
too.
Yeah.
I sing too in the car on my way to the studio. Like a lot. That's always my warm up. I always sing.
Do you do singing warm ups like specifically?
Yeah, I do.
Do you like the
Yeah, the bubbling to take the pressure off of the chords.
Yes.
Yeah, I do all these like weird things.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah, I do I don't do it as great as you guys do. And I hum, and sometimes I read road signs in different voices. I'm all like, because especially if I don't know what I'm doing, I'm like, better warm them all up.
Wait, so when you're driving, are you like, stop?
Stop it.
Oh, the things will be like, Midway Road, next turn. Or, I'm like, Midway Road, next turn. Like, am I going to be a boy today? Am I going to be a girl? Who knows?
I like that. I want to use that.
I'll do that. And then I have to do tongue twisters because I used to have a speech impediment and I couldn't pronounce my R's. So I have to do a lot of tongue twisters so I don't get the booth and be like, hey, guys, this is my shirt.
What's your favorite one? Because I sometimes do them too.
I have two that I go to. I'm really bad about mushy S sounds, so I do like she sells seashells. And then I had one that I made up because I'm originally from Tennessee, so we say things with really thick accents. And so I don't say steal right. I'm always like, I still think we should do this.
Oh,
and so I have to say
still.
still. And I'm really bad about it. So I made up a tongue twister for like L's and things like that. So it's Little Lily likes to fill the lake with lots of lollipops.
A lot of L's.
Wow. Yeah.
Mine is 6 sick sheep.
Six
Sick
sheep.
sick sheep.
add that one.
6 sick sheep.
Yeah.
Six.
Okay.
No, really,
Six
yeah,
sick.
6 sick sheep.
That's a good one. Mine's like the red leather, yellow leather.
Red leather, yellow leather is
leather.
wonderful.
Black blood, blue blood, and then you change it around blue blood, black blood, red leather, yellow leather, black blood, blue blood, red leather, yellow leather, blue blood, black blood. And then the Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers, a peck of pickled peppers, Peter Piper picked. Peter Piper picked a peck of pickled peppers. Where's the peck of pickled peppers? Peter Piper picked.
I'm in awe.
Yeah. That's my favorite one.
Have you seen that new like Eminem Godzilla challenge? Because I think you need to do it. You can talk that fast.
What is that?
I haven't
it's like
seen it.
the really fast talking. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Like in the Eminem song?
Like Rap God?
No, it's a new song called
It's a new-
Godzilla.
Okay,
Godzilla.
okay.
Well, let's
But
play
it's
it right
like
now.
fast like that.
It's really, I mean, it's a lot of cursing. It's Eminem though.
What's
so
this
I-
panel rated?
Okay, so out of curiosity, how did you guys get into becoming actors?
Origin story time.
I love a good origin story.
Oh, fancy.
Zach, you go first.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay. So, when I was 6 years old, I'm from California, born and raised, and my mom decided, hey, my kid's kind of cute. No, I'm just kidding. My kid's the best, and I'm gonna like get him into Hollywood. And so,
True parent fashion.
So that's what happened. My mom got me an agent, and all throughout like kindergarten and first grade, my mom would be calling up my school and being like, "Oh yeah, Zach is so sick. He's like dying in bed." And then she'd get off the phone and she'd call up my agent. "All right, how many auditions are we booking this week? All right, we're getting Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday." Wow. And so she would just book me out and. After a while, it was crazy though. I actually got some things. I got like a commercial. I got some print work, like doing jeans and hairstyle magazines as like a 7-year-old kid. And after that, my mom realized like, yeah, my son, he doesn't really like doing this because we would drive all the way to Hollywood, LA traffic, and I would miss out a lot in school. And like those early years are kind of like when you're developing just as a kid.
All your friends thought you were sick, so they didn't want to be around you.
Yeah, like it was weird. It was so hard to like keep friends when I was doing all that stuff. So my mom took me out of acting, and she said, "You know what? Forget this." And I just kind of lived a normal life until I found voiceover later on when I was like in 4th or 5th grade, and I really loved anime and video games. One of my favorite video games was Kingdom Hearts 2, and so I was like super inspired by Kingdom Hearts. I was like, yeah, I wish I could do voiceover, and so I started taking like voiceover classes specifically. And then in 2014, I was 16 years old, and I ended up winning an anime voice acting competition at Anime Expo. And because I won that competition, the studio brought me in, and I voiced additional voices in Magi, the Kingdom of Magic, and then after that, everything kind of just snowballed. I met a bunch of people, and then I met somebody who introduced me to my agent, and yada, 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 and it just kind of kept rolling. And so, yeah, here I am. Woo, hi.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Like, because I don't know about you two, but for me, I feel like one of the hardest things about acting is the scheduling, right? Like,
It's tough.
it's insane. You didn't even have to worry about the scheduling as a kid when your mom was doing it. But,
Yeah.
But, like, still, like, juggling school with that, I can't imagine.
Yeah.
Wow. So my training when I was younger, like high school and stuff, was in musical theater and an opera. Totally not voice acting, right? Still acting, but very stylized.
That's cool.
Types of acting. And so then I grew up, I went to college, I got an undergraduate degree in Japanese language, actually, and worked as a translator over in Tokyo for an IT company. And I moved back to the States, and I was like, what am I gonna do? I had a background in computers too, so I was doing like IT work. And I started doing stage work in Dallas, like musicals and stuff. And like did Hunchback of Notre Dame, I was Clopin, and Fiddler on the Roof, a lot of them. And J. Michael Tatum, I don't know if any of you know J. Michael Tatum of him, but he's my partner, he's my fiance. And so I got called up by Ian Sinclair one day because we're friends with him. He's the director of Black Butler. And he said, hey, I'm working on the 3rd season of Black Butler, Book of Circus, and the translator is having problems with this one character's accent. The character is Joker in Black Butler, if you know that arc. And so I was like, yeah, I'll take a look at this character's accent in Japanese, whatever. And I listened to it, and I'm like, what is this? This is clearly a dialect. I can understand it, but there's something weird with the word endings that he's doing. I know what he's saying, but I don't know why he's saying it like that. So I started searching, Yahoo Answers? Anyone remember Yahoo Answers? Yahoo Answers in Japan is still used all the time. It's used like Quora is over here. And so I found the answer on Yahoo Answers Japan in Japanese, and it was a performer's dialect from a specific street in Osaka that originated in the mid-1800s. And I was like, what is this?
Specific.
I know, it's super specific. I was like, this is wild. So like I messaged Ian, and I'm like, okay, here you go, that's cool. And yeah, it was, and he went from there. But he said, and kind of as a thank you, he was like, you want to come in and like voice the cats? It'll be fun. It'll be ridiculous. And I'm like, sure, okay. And so I voiced the cats, and he was like, okay, you're really, like, you're nailing these cats. Normally people are going to have, which I suppose it would be easy. You know, we think like, oh, animal noise is easy. But he was like, you're pretty comfortable behind a microphone. Do you have, I mean, you do stage. Do you have a British accent? I was like, a little bit, a bit of a British accent. He's like, perfect, okay, great. Here's this part in the Black Butler movie. So I played Patrick Phelps in Book of Murder, or the OVAs rather. And so that's how I got started. And then I started doing singing stuff for Caitlin Glass in, what is it, Shonen Maid?
Shonen Maid.
Shonen Maid, yeah. So that was my first, like, named role, I guess, where I was doing stuff. But yeah, that's how I got started. It's random and roundabout, right? It's very strange. I didn't know Japanese would lead me to voice acting.
That's very cool. So you used to do like translation?
Yeah, I translated a book while I lived in Japan.
So
and
what got you into that? Like what?
Final Fantasy.
Oh,
So,
really?
Like, Kingdom Hearts, I feel you. Like Final Fantasy VI is like my,
Yeah.
probably your Kingdom Hearts too.
And you went to Tokyo.
Yeah, I lived in Akihabara actually.
How
Like,
long?
13 months.
Really? Wow.
It
And
was-
so were you like fluent in or?
そうです。日本語わかります?
Oh my God! It's like the real weeaboo. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, we have to the mag, right? No, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it. It's true though.
No,
I will
that's super
totally
cool.
too, like if I'm stuck on like a script or something, and like sometimes it takes a really long time to get answers from translation. So sometimes I'll just be like, "Hey, Brandon, can you look at?"
And I'll be
this?"
like, can you just like record the clip
Like,
on your
just-
iPhone and send it
and
to
I'll
me?
send it.
got
I'm like,
you.
I know she's saying something important, Brandon. I just need to know what.
She is though. Yeah. But it's useful in the booth, I will say, when you're dubbing anime.
Oh, I bet.
And the script, if there's an error in the script or something doesn't make sense, the director will usually just be like, hey, Brandon, can I just play this for you in the J? Like, yeah, okay.
It's great. When I was assistant directing for Sunny and we were working on Eld Live, we had a lot of problems with the script, and I had suggested you for Dr. Love. Dr. Love. And there was totally a time where we're like, what is he saying? And Sunny's like, I'm so glad I called you in, Brandon. And I'm like,
I got you, Sonny. Anytime. 大丈夫.
well, my story's a little bit different. I never wanted to be an actor. I did acting in middle school and high school. I don't want to brag, but I was Toto in The Wizard of Oz. It was a pretty big role. That dog was in every scene. Nobody else auditioned for it. I was the only one that wanted it. I love Toto. So that was kind of how I got my start. And I liked it a lot, but at no point was I ever like, yeah, one day I'm going to be an actor. I had a much more realistic dream, and that was to be the first American manga artist. So I made my own comics, and I tried to publish them and couldn't find a publisher because they were like, that's not what we do here. I was like, fine, I'll self-publish it. So I started self-publishing my comics. It's about unicorns that turn into hot dudes. You're welcome.
Thank you, Kristen.
It's what the world needed. They say make what you love, and you'll find others who love it as much as you do, and there is a fan base for that. So I was selling my comics at cons. Every year I'd sell them at A-Con and Anime Fest.
I have a copy.
Yay!
I need to see
Got mine at
this.
Akon.
I'm so embarrassed about the art.
I
So
didn't even know
old
this.
now.
I had no idea.
I draw all my own prints that I sell at my table.
Oh my God,
I save so much money on commissions.
I'm gonna go check them out.
Please do. And so I was selling my art, and I started doing panels about publishing, and they were like, "Wow, for an artist, you're really good at public speaking." And I was like, "Thanks." I guess normally we're really shy. They're like, "Do you want to be a guest next year?" And I was like, "Yes, I do." And so I was a guest, and then I got into the green room, and I met Bruce Lewis, who was a comic artist. He did Walla for Funimation, but he never really did a lot. But we were talking one day, and he was like, "Yeah, I do voiceover for Funimation." We mostly talked about comics. And me, like so many other people, was like, "Voiceover? That sounds cool. How do you get into that?" And he was like, "Well, you did theater, right?" He's like, "You should just do open auditions for Funimation." And at the time, there was a link on Funimation's page that was like, if you want to be a voice actor, fill out this form. All you had to do was follow instructions. And I'm like, well, I can do that. So I sent them this email. It was like, send us an email. If you have a demo, send a demo. I didn't have a demo because I'd never done voiceover. Tell us what your range is, what your experience is. So I was like, I did theater. I believe this is what my range is. I would be really interested in doing open auditions if you have open auditions. P.S. I can bark like a dog. And I sent that in.
Important.
And I didn't hear back. And I was like, not surprisingly, I did not hear back. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't hire me either in hindsight. And then 6 months later, out of nowhere, they were like, hey, do you still want to do open auditions? And I was like, yes, I'd be very interested in doing that. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. So I went to Google. It's a great thing. You guys could do it too. And I said, how to be a voice actor.
Google Answers.
Google
confirmed.
Answers, you guys. I did not use Yahoo Answers. But I just Googled it, which is when people are like, how did you become a voice actor? And I'm like, I Googled it. And they like laugh at me. And they're like, but how really? And I'm like, I Googled it. I Googled it, and I read a lot of information, and then I practiced reading out loud for 2 weeks. I used manga, and I read out loud, and I would record it, and I would listen back to it, and then I went in, and I did the audition with Joel McDonald. Joel. And I was like, this is a really cool experience. I'll probably never hear back from them again. And then a week later, I was back to do background voices on Haganai Next. And I always like to add to this part, because everyone's like, wow, you make it sound so easy. Anybody could do that. For a year, I did background voices, and I auditioned, and I did background voices, and I auditioned. And I didn't get cast in anything other than background voices. Not to belittle that, but I wanted a better career. And I realized the problem was not that the directors didn't like me, it was that I sucked. I was a terrible actor. And I wasn't booking auditions because I wasn't good at it, and I was auditioning against people who did voiceover for a living. And I'm like, well, that's the difference. I'm treating this like a hobby, and they're treating it like a career. And so I immersed myself in classes, and I still take classes. I see Brandon in a lot of them.
That's true.
And so that was, and as soon as I started treating it like a career, like 6 months of like, I did coaching, I did improv, I did film and television workshops. I went to LA and took a workshop with Tony Oliver, flew out there. About 6 months of like really dedicating myself to it, I booked my first named role, which was Assassination Classroom. So I like to add that part so people aren't like, oh, it's so easy. I'm like, but then I realized it wasn't. So there's a lot of work that went into it later.
That's awesome. So before we open this up to questions from the audience, I guess my final question for you guys would be, which of your characters do you find you can relate to the most? And maybe which character has the most different personality than yourself?
Well, Malim's a demon lord, and I really connect to that. I often feel like I'm overpowered and 2,000 years old, that no one really understands me, and my best friend is a slime. So we really connect on that level. As far as characters that I'm most different from, there's this girl that like draws comics all the time. Her name is Mao. She's super into drawing comics, and she's kind of snarky and sarcastic. And I'm nothing like that. So those are probably mine.
Noted.
What?
Hey, Kristen.
Hey.
I'm having a real great time on this panel. Let's see. I probably relate the most with Finral in Black Clover, because he's...
You're magical?
No, I'm panicking.
Oh.
Oh, God! Oh, no! This is bad. Okay. That's, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fun. He panics in a fun, entertaining way. I like to imagine that I add something when I'm panicking and freaking out. And the character that's the biggest stretch for me is actually Sir Night-Eye in My Hero Academia. Because I don't know if you've noticed or not, but I tend to go kind of high in my pitch when I'm talking, and I'm kind of all over the place, very, very Finral. And Sir Night-Eye is not like that at all. If you've seen My Hero, because he just talks like this all the time, and he's very serious. And to get into this voice, all you need to do is think about taxes. And you'll have the voice like that. That's me.
Taxes suck, let me tell you.
They do.
I know, it's horrible.
Especially as an actor.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's horrible. Let's see. I think the character I relate the most to is, it's kind of between two. It's either like Tanjiro or Koichi from JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. And the reason why is because, I'm going to say it now, I'm such a pushover. Like, I'm not even going to lie. It's... I don't know, something about it. I can't say no. I can't be assertive. People have said, Zach, you need to be more assertive. You need to, put your foot down sometimes. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then something happens, I get put in that situation, I just like let people just steamroll right all over me. You
Just
know?
think about taxes.
Just think about taxes. No more. I wish I could be like that to the IRS, if only, right? No more taxes.
And then they garnish your wages.
Yeah. Then they really get you. I think the character I'm the least like, it's probably Colt from Hunter x Hunter. Maybe because, well, I don't know. He's kind of like a good guy, but I don't know. Maybe it's just like his personality and
How he kind of talks like this, and he just talks like this the entire time.
I like how all of a sudden you sound like a grown man.
Yeah, that's what I do. Like
You just like answer the phone like that, and you're like, Zach's not home right now.
would-
Sorry,
I
IRS.
Sorry, IRS. Get out of here.
That's wild.
No
great.
more taxes.
Yeah, no, it's so funny. I'm working on something right now that's really cool, but I can't say what it is, but I get to use like, hey, yeah, it's me, like this voice,
And then he gets older.
and like whatnot.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's neat.
Range is fun when it's the same character.
Yeah.
I always like asking actors like if they go through drive-through windows using multiple voices and just throw them off. Like you order McFlurries in both of those voices.
They'd be like, we thought there was a 12-year-old boy here, but instead it's this woman.
They'd be like, we're not getting paid enough for this. Come on, man.
All right, so we have about 20 minutes left. So whatever questions y'all may have, this is your moment. All right, I see we have
This
our
is
first
your
rolling bell.
moment.
Line it up.
Hi, this is open for all three of you. Just wanted to ask you, has there been a particular project or episode that presented a challenge to you, either creatively or technically, and how did you overcome that challenge?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing is for me is that it's also like how Brandon was saying with scheduling. It's really hard when I go into, sometimes like I worked on a video game technically in it, and it's not out yet, but it's been announced. It's a mobile game. It's called Final Fantasy Brave Exvius War of the Visions. I know, it's a mouthful.
Thanks, Japan.
Yeah, thanks, Japan.
Must be a light novel.
The title of it is just like a big paragraph, you know, like what is up with that nowadays? I think the hard part for that was just that the role required a lot of screaming and a lot of
Like, my character
you know, and he's always like lots of screaming, lots of like guttural things. My character, he kind of ends up going crazy and losing his mind. It's a tragic story, but basically I went in to record that. And nobody told me that it was screaming before. And so I talked to the director. Hey man, how's it going? Yeah, I've been screaming a lot this week. Is this gonna be screaming? Because I might like actually just walk out if it is.
Yes, which you should.
And he's like, no, there's no screaming. And then I get into the booth. They mic me up, and I look at the director through the window, and he's like, oh, that was, I was looking at Bryce Pappenbrook's character. Your character screams every single line. And I was like, oh, fun. And so I ended up doing the session.
Pushover.
I know, and I like completely, I trashed my voice for like 4 days. I remember the weekend of, I did not talk at all because it was so bad, but I got it back. But the only problem is that right after that session, luckily I was still able to do it. I had to do a commercial. And so when you go from screaming, even if it's just for like a couple hours, like every single line, and then you go and you have to be like, hey, only at State Farm. Like, you can't do that. You know what I mean? Like, you can't be like, hey, come on down to Target. Like, that's not a thing you can
You
do.
can't be a relatable millennial if you've been screaming your face off as a demon for the past 4 hours.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know if that makes sense. Like, in terms of character challenges, I think it's just been challenging to go from doing one thing than doing something entirely different. And when it's in the same day, there's not enough time to recover, but that's how scheduling works sometimes. You just pack it all in there and say a big prayer.
That's probably the hardest. I agree with you, Zach. Video game work is some of the most strenuous, vocally intensive work that we do as actors. I mean, yeah, we scream in anime, especially if it's like Dragon Ball, you know, but video games, whole nother level, right? I'm recording on one right now, and every line is at 11. Every single line. Oh yeah, yes, because you're there as well, and it's hard to do that and then immediately go be anime boy. Hey guys, what's going on? This range isn't there after you've been, screaming.
More like, hey guys, what's going on?
Hey guys, what's going on? But yeah, there was a time I was coming back from New York, and I landed and immediately went to Funimation because Funimation is very close to the airport in Dallas, which is great if things go wrong, your flights get delayed, and you're like, am I gonna make it? And then you can just hop over. But I was recording on a show called Nambaka. And Nambaka, my character in that, Samon, has a very interesting voice. It's kind of vocally intensive. Because he talks like this, and it's just all up here, and it's that, and I had no
Gilbert
voice.
Godfrey.
Yeah, exactly.
Who is
hey
here?
guys, what's up?
Gilbert Godfrey.
Yeah, but it was hard. It was really difficult, and we do that all the time at Funimation too, because the scheduling, we're on a simuldub schedule, so you may be in 6 different shows, and you have to jump between characters in like all 6 characters in 3 hours, and if you're spent here, it's gonna be rough, real rough.
I would agree. Brandon and I are on the same game. And as a woman, we very rarely have to go into the booth and scream our heads off. Like we're always like, oh no, I'm so shy, I'm sorry. Because women in anime.
Not in video games.
But so I'm doing this video game and they're like, I'm like trying to give it, this is my subtle read. And they're like, no time for that, yell it. And I'm like, okay. So everything is yelling and the character I'm playing is a deeper voiced woman. And so everything is from my throat. And so I had this session and they were very nice at this studio. They're very considerate of your voice. And the moment you start to hurt, they're like, we're done. Even if it cuts your session
They call
short.
the session. They call a session.
They call the
Really?
session.
It is the most vocally healthy studio I've ever worked for.
This is blowing my mind
Yeah,
because every
that's-
single one I go to,
They're
they're all
very, like the moment I was only about an hour, just a little over an hour into mine, and they're like, "How's your voice?" And I was like, "It's starting to hurt a little bit, but I'm okay." They're like, "Nope, we're done." Like
Yeah.
they called it.
Isn't that incredible? Like,
that's
which needs to happen.
yeah.
Which is good because I realized later that I was like, my throat hurts so much because it's all from my throat. It's all screaming. And I was like, that's okay. Like, I have the rest of the day to, recover. Well, the next morning, I had 2 sessions at Funimation, right? One is a Walla session. And I was like, it's just Walla. Like, how bad can it be? And I get in there, and the director's like, yeah, today you're zombie children that are set on fire. And I was like, cool. So it's just an hour of... And I'm like, oh, God, but you're a kid, so you have to sound young and on fire. And then I was like, cool. I was like, that's not so bad. It's not so bad. And then I had a session for My Hero Academia. This season, in season 4, I play a boy. His name is Tamashiro, and he's like a baby Bakugo, which means he yells everything. and so he's a boy, so he's like, I'm way down here. I'm baby Bakugo.
Screaming.
And then it was like he goes in there and he's like, don't underestimate us. And I'm like, oh my God, why did this end up this way? And so I was like, as a girl, this almost never happens. I almost never have things where I'm like, I'm just going to have to go in here and yell for 2 hours. But just book a video game session and that'll change.
Yeah, you'll know. And a lot of people don't realize how vocally intensive video game work is, but it's, like I was saying before, it's crazy. And so you're aware, you'll go into the booth and they'll be like, okay, we need to get 10 different takes, around 8 seconds each, and you're on fire. We need 8 seconds of you screaming like you are lit on fire, and it has to be believable.
And
And
you can't hold it back.
Yeah.
Like that's
No.
the thing. There is no like, I'm on fire. It's like, I'm on fire!
Like that. Sorry, everyone. But yeah, that's
Like
it.
you are dying. You are literally on fire.
And then you do that for 8 seconds and you're like, and they're like, great, let's get
Great.
3 more
Take 2.
passes.
Yeah. No, like
Yeah.
10.
10.
Oh,
Yeah.
have you ever done like the ones where sometimes like even with the JRPGs, it's like not everything is timed, but sometimes they won't tell me when it is a timed line, and I'll do a screaming line, and they're all like, oh yeah, sorry, that didn't match to time, and I'm like, why didn't you tell me this was a timed line?
It's a big no-no.
Nobody told me. I'm just like, so what I just did, 110% that line, which was. It was perfect, by the way. But that line, it's unusable. They can't time stretch it. They're not going to do that. Nope, got to do it again. Make it fit in 2 seconds.
That's dangerous. That's
Yeah.
dangerous because you can blow out your voice. You can injure yourself.
And then once you're done being on fire, you get burned by acid.
Yeah. Yeah. No, seriously. Literally, this game we're working on right now, we go through passes. We gotta get fire.
You
we
can
gotta get
die
acid,
so many ways.
ice, electricity,
All
tons
of
of things, and that's normal in video games.
Yeah,
Right?
because anyway,
Video games.
video games. Hey, thanks. That was a great
all
question.
Three of you. Thank you.
What's your name?
Bryce.
Hi.
You know, very unemotional and being the next Wizard King,
Right.
But, quick question. Is there any characters that you wish you got to roll for?
Sasuke Uchiha, Naruto. Let me tell you, Yuri Lowenthal ain't got nothing on me. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I mean, I could have done Sasuke, but then I would have probably been like about, 6 years old, 7 years old. Kind of like when I was getting into acting. I don't know. I could have made a good 7-year-old Sasuke. Yeah, like they could have brought me in maybe. Come on. What up?
Sasuke?
No, both Sasukes. All Sasuke, Just Sasuke Uchiha, like the Sasuke. Like I'd do that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was really disappointed that Monica got Sakura and Cardcaptor Sakura. I wanted to be Sakura so badly, but it's fine.
And
That
I
was
really
way
wanted to
before
be.
I started voice acting.
I really wanted to be Sir Night Eye, but I was already taught to me, and.
I wanted to be Senko.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's just switch.
Let's switch.
No one will know.
You be this fox girl. I'll be Sir Night Eye.
Great.
Oh wait, he's dead.
Spoiler.
I'm so sorry. He's still alive.
Yeah, they're just kidding. They're just messing
I was just
around.
kidding.
It's like the joke where you say, like, that book, everybody dies at the end of it? Like, it's just a joke. It's just a
It's
prank.
like me playing Sir Night Eye. I can't even do that. I'm not a boy. Can't believe anything we say. Hey, next question.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Connor, I'm from Main Question. What's the name of that studio? Because I like to work if I'm very vocally conscious.
We can't
can't
say
tell
right
you.
now. We can after
We
it's
pinky
released.
swore.
And we signed a bunch of very binding legal documents.
Yeah. I'll give you the names of all the studios that aren't vocally conscious, but let me just pull out.
Let me pull out my list.
Main question. So I noticed that you are all mid-high range guys can do some low voices. So technically, what is going on? How are you guys doing that? Because it's I'm thinking, how the heck am I do these low voices?
Oh, like how to do low
How
voices?
to do the low.
Like
Well.
technically, what's going on?
Well, I lower my. I mean, you're like technically trained singer, right? See, I'm sure you
Yeah.
could probably explain this way better than I could.
So you lower the larynx. If you to get to a low voice, the first thing you do is you yawn, go, and then you talk from there, and then you start resonating from your thorax, and then you sound very menacing. But
It's like that vocal, I found the vocal fry thing is what helped me develop it. Well, technically, I mean, when I was 12 years old, I used to play Halo on Xbox Live. And so that's what helped me develop
The low voice.
because everybody's like, I'm a 12-year-old on Xbox. I'm like, hey guys, how's it going? Anybody got a sniper? Shut up, kid! You suck! And they would say a bunch of curse words and horrible things to me, obviously.
so you wanted to sound older, so you wouldn't get.
Right. And so instead of me being like, hey guys, how's it going? I was like,
Hey guys, what's up? All right, man, let's move.
the chopper's on the way, let's go! And
Wow.
then boom, that was it. And so then I developed the low voices. So, I'm sure you could imagine it was a lot higher than what it was now, but it'd be like, hey guys, how's it going? And then I'd be like, hey guys, what's up? Or no, maybe not that different. I don't know.
Still, I mean, that sounds different.
Yeah.
That's necessity.
Yeah.
That's
It
just fascinating to me that
People treated me like an actual human being after that. Who would have known?
It's different for me because I am a girl. I had a couple of things. One, I had a session with the director who was having a really bad day. And at one point, he turned off the mic and just started yelling at his engineer. And all I could see was him on the other side of the glass,
Whoa.
and I was like, oh my God. And I had not acted with him before. And then he turns to me and he's like, can you do a boy voice? And I was like, yes. Because I was afraid. And I'd never done it before. And I was
Necessity.
I was like, do or die. And so I did it. And it was just like, I want a Happy Meal. And I was like, oh my God, I can actually do this. And so I was like, well, now that I know I can do this, I need to develop it, not out of fear, but out of as a performer. And I took a lot of workshops, and Monica Rial guest spoke at one of them. And she was like, I'm going to take the girls aside and work with the girls. And we were talking about like our voices and our range. And she was like, oh, you just move the voice around to different places in your body. I am not technically trained.
No, but that's an excellent direction.
It made sense. And so it's like, when I'm like a little boy, it's like from my throat. And if I'm like a prepubescent boy, then it's like more from my chest and throat. And so it's just moving it around. Like, Senko is very breathy and more out of your head. And so it's just taking your voice and moving it to different parts of your body. Like your foot. Your foot makes amazing noises. Just kidding, it doesn't. But that's not a very technical term, but that is how I think of it when I have to move my voice around.
That helps a lot of people find voices, like placing it in their body.
Yeah, placement is very important. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we have about 5 minutes left. I just want to say one of the things I think is the most fascinating about this panel is how incredible all three of you are and how vastly different all three of your stories are. It's pretty neat.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
I think that's pretty common with voice actors. There is no, like, I think a lot of people assume, as in with other careers, that there's a very set path on, like, to do this career, you need to do A, B, and C, and then this will happen. That's not a thing
only.
in acting at all.
I would love if it were that simple. Like, it was just like, do this, and then you're an actor. And I'm like, but it's not,
No,
there's a lot of...
it's random sometimes and weird and winding.
Yeah. A lot of angst, a lot of me being in my bedroom and being all like, I want to do this. And a lot of rejection being like, you can't do this. And then a lot of me being in my bedroom still like, I want to do this. I want to be a voice actor. I have to do it.
Sounds like an anime.
Yeah, it's
I
like
have
the
to
start
be
of
number one.
the origin story.
You're Deku. Oh, wow, it's like Deku in real life.
What's your question?
Brandon, what's your opinion of Sir Night-Eye?
My opinion?
Your
I think he needs a spa day. He just seems very stressed.
Hey, so I had a question specifically for Zach.
Yeah.
So when you signed up for the role of Tanjiro in Demon Slayer, did you realize how big of a deal that show would end up being? And when it ended up blowing up, like, what was your reaction to all that?
Yeah, so I didn't know that it was going to be as big as it was, I guess. I mean, they let me know as the show was kind of blowing up, but it was before I think when episode 19 hit, like, it just exploded all over the internet. Everybody's like, Demon Slayer, oh my God, like, this is a beautiful show. I gotta watch it, the animation. And so, yeah, when they told me I got the role, I was just kind of sitting on it for a while. I was waiting for us to start recording the show, which is, probably the most nerve-wracking thing when you get a big role like that and you're just like, all right, I'm waiting to, like, I just want to get in and record it so we can, like, establish a base for the character and so that they don't have the chance to say, you've been recast, because that's always the first thing going through my head, I guess, as an actor, because of the actor brain. But I mean, I don't know. I knew for a certain amount of time, and the show blew up, and it's been really cool watching it just be so successful. It's awesome.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so this is actually going to be the final question, then we're going to take a big group picture. So, all right.
No pressure.
I was wondering, are there any sorts of voices that you would consider good for beginners to practice?
Yes.
Your natural speaking voice.
Yes.
Your own.
Your own.
It's
Like,
true.
How would you practice voice acting in your natural voice? Any
Read out loud.
tips? Okay.
Record it. Yeah.
Yeah, read out loud. I will occasionally teach a class at Sunny Straight Studio for advanced acting, which is where I basically just direct everybody. And I find the biggest problem that everyone has is they can be fantastic actors, but they can't read out loud and act at the same time and match flaps. It's a lot. And so reading out loud, just practicing reading out loud, will teach you what kind of words you stumble upon. It'll teach you, like, if you say feel instead of fill. So reading out loud is the thing that I always tell people. And the best part about it is it's free. So you don't have to pay any money to do it. It's a great way to practice. Everybody thinks it's about what kind of voices you can do, but mostly it's about being able to act believably when people can't see you specifically, I would think.
Yeah, absolutely. That's exactly what it is. You have to be compelling and you have to be real in this profession, right? And the first step is to be compelling and real as you, as what you have right here, without trying to do anything else. And then you baby step it up with trying this, trying that. But you have to have that core first.
Because it's like working out with weights, like 5-pound weights, and then all of a sudden adding like 20-pound weights. So you want to be able to act with your normal voice, because once you have to pitch it, that adds like another thing you have to think about, because now you have to read the script, match these flaps, act, and make sure that you're maintaining voice. So I've always thought that my best acting is in my normal speaking voice, because I don't have to think about it. I can just act. But if I have to like be Senko, who's way up here, then I have to think about that and act and read out loud and match flaps. So
Very frustrating.
it's a lot. And so don't think about so much of like, I have to do these voices because that's what anime wants. Think about how can my voice, like how can I act with my voice? Because you sound like you. Brandon sounds like Brandon and Zach sounds like Zach.
Yeah.
So there's a need for that. If you have a voice, there's a need for it. End of story.
Yeah, focus on that acting, number one. And the voice, everything else. If you want to do crazy characters, crazier things that might require different voices, I mean, I think, I don't know, like a lot of great directors I've worked with sometimes, they'll even just tell me, just forget about the voice. Like, let's, like, just nail down the character first. We're going to add in the voice a little bit later. We got to figure out, what are your motives, what your character, just really dive into that character first. And then the voice is always something that, acting first, voice sprinkled on top later, or I don't know. And that's what they tell me.
So before we wrap this up, any final thoughts?
We're in the place where you can get autographs.
Yeah, somewhere over there, they took us through the back, so we went through a lot of
There was like
industrial
a scary
looking.
elevator.
It's pretty great.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to promo anything? If not, you don't have to.
Nothing.
You can
nothing I
watch. I'm in Neko Para as Cinnamon.
Woo!
Yay! Cat girls. And Bo Fury as Yui, which is airing on Funimation this season. We're all going to be signing autographs. If you come by my table, I can draw you as an anime character.
That's pretty cool.
I'm trying to put my kids through college, so I appreciate you in advance. Arigato.
Wow.
Interesting you say Kingdom Hearts. I have an album of Kingdom Hearts covers coming out on Tuesday.
Are you kidding me?
No.
Brandon
actually.
is a fabulous
It's called
singer.
Circle of Hearts, and I have an original inspired by Kingdom Hearts 3.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Coming out too.
Are you going to karaoke tonight at the
I
VIP
will,
party?
yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I'm there.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's that.
Wow. I guess go play Fire Emblem 3 Houses.
Woo!
I don't get residuals, but go play it because it is a cool game, and I love the people at Nintendo. They aren't forcing me to say this. No, I really
I'm saying
mean.
this of my own free will.
It's my own opinion. No, but seriously, you guys should go play it. It's a really cool game. Other stuff that's coming out, I can't really talk about it, but look forward to E3 this year. It'll be cool. Yeah.
Thank you guys so much for coming and
Thanks,
listening
everyone.
to us blabber on for 50 minutes.